All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Park Job Podcast, your one-stop drop-in for disc golf discussion. My name's Trent, and I've got my co-host, kind of drop-in partner here, Ian Brown.
How's it going?
And we're going to discuss some disc golf stuff, some recent news, and startup podcast, first time doing it, so it's going to be very casual conversation. We're going to go over a couple topics, then we've got a couple bid ideas we're going to go over, and just sit along, enjoy a good conversation. Leave a comment down below if you have something you'd like to add for next week's podcast or whenever we upload another podcast. And I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, it's our first time either of us doing podcasts, so have some grace with us. We're going to try to do it in one take. Mm-hmm. And so there's probably going to be some blips. But
yeah. For some background, I'm 1020 rated, and Ian is a professional PDGA rider. So both of those were lies. But
mine was less of a lie than yours.
Yeah.
Like, I have written a couple articles now for the PDGA magazine. 1020 is like 200 above.
I'm a local pro. I won my Ice Bowl MA2 tournament, so I'm basically a local pro.
Let's not get started about the weather. And
all right, anyway, we're going to get off with our first topic of the day, and we're going to go over the Simon effect. Basically, in summary, Simon MVP has been huge news as of late, as we all know. Simon has caused uproar in the disc golf community, and if you couldn't tell, I have a Simon bag here, and 90% of the discs of it and inside of it are MVP, Gyro, Axiom, Streamline. I owned probably 5 Gyro discs before Simon went to MVP. So
it's been a whirlwind. I did the same thing though. Like I made an order of 4 discs from MVP. I got through Foundation because they had like a free shipping and 10% off Simon code, so I thought maybe I'd get a little bit of a deal. But yeah, I mean, I did that. I've got an influx of a little bit of holiday cash still left over, so I still might get a few more Gyro discs. I don't know. He kind of he brings that excitement that I feel like MVP might have been lacking before. Like James Conrad going to MVP happened before his world title. And then even when he gets a world title, it might just be more James Conrad's brand to not really, be that huge influencer. He's a chill player, a fun vibe on the course. Like, I don't think anyone has a problem with James Conrad, right? It's just like MVP made a good move bringing in someone who's going to sell discs. And Simon's going to sell discs, as he's already done. That's
very true. And a couple of stats I have down. In the first 1 to 2 days of sales, both Infinite and Foundation discs reported having sold out of their recent influx of MVP discs, which, as Ian just mentioned, he was a member of the committee in which that purchased discs from Foundation. So
yes, I am.
Yeah. A follow-up question to that topic. Is Simon the best plastic mover in disc golf? Now, we've seen our Paul McBeths, our Eagle McMahons, our Calvin Heimbergs, names on discs all over the place. Simon is not the special case. He's not going to be your number one on top of the leaderboard every single tournament like you might see some of those other players. Although last year was kind of an outlier.
Yeah, I mean, he hadn't won in a few years.
2018, I'm pretty sure was the last
2018,
one.
I think, was his last Elite Series.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to make... This is one thing I'm going to hold myself to. Not making huge claims of what I think is going to happen. If you asked me what I think he's trending towards, I think last year we saw him the most conservative we've ever seen him. The Simon line was not a thing of the past for sure, but it wasn't an every tournament thing. There were some tournaments where he didn't throw Simon lines, right? That being said, he was still fun to watch, but he's just so much more conservative now. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he speaks to it, right? Like, he says constantly, like, the reason that I feel like I had so much success, I'm quoting him, is because of, taking things back, throwing 80% and throwing maybe less beefy discs, so that now he gets still the same distance, but with a little more control, a little more attention to detail and technique in his form. And I think it paid off. I mean, he was very consistent. I think it goes unnoticed, especially the beginning of the season when he wasn't winning tournaments. He was still like
That was back when he had a shoulder injury, and he was like really working on slowing down his form and throwing flippier discs, working on controlling that shoulder movement. And as you can see, that really, really paid off for him.
No,
because
yeah,
he's not throwing PD2s anymore, like the most overstable distance driver you can find. And
or he's throwing beat-in ones. Like,
Yeah.
he likes that mold. Like, he's throwing discs that are going to be less amounts of torque that he has to put in on those discs.
And that's exactly why he's going to MVP. You're likely not going to see him get a PD2 copy. You're not going to see him even probably get a DD3 copy. Probably something a little more stable than what MVP has in the lineup. But whatever it is, it will sell.
Yeah, I mean, that brings up an interesting point. I think I don't know. I think it might be a question to ask. Do we think Simon will be making his own discs?
Like most certainly.
Like, not just...
He's already confirmed it.
Not just putting his name on discs, right? But like... And yeah, I know we've seen, like, he worked with somebody a little bit in a video where they showed him, like, kind of designing a disc, right? What discs do we think those might be? Like, what would we expect from Simon? For me personally, my guess would be... I mean, we've seen some of the in-the-bag things that he's done. Would it be the distance drivers that we feel like he's lacking the most comfort in right now? I mean, he's got the, I'm going to blank on the name. Octanes. And he even said those were kind of flippy, which is interesting because I got an Octane. It is not flippy, granted.
It's also not a great sample size. We're playing in 20-degree weather.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I got the Proton plastic, so there's a couple things working against me in the stability department. I'm still curious to see if he has, maybe something where he experiments more with different plastics.
Yeah. As for holes in his bag, I think we saw a Simon Lizotte that was extremely excited for the throwing putters, overly excited for the mid-ranges, and he was pretty, he wasn't exactly like the most excited about the fairway drivers, but the fairway drivers were definitely suitable for what he's capable of.
Oh, yeah.
It was very blatantly obvious the two biggest holes in his bag that he mentioned were the distance driver, or at least the overstable distance driver, that was comfortable in his hand, because he's mentioned that he doesn't like the speed of a rim over a 13. He likes that destroyer feel in his hand. And if you've watched a couple of his vlogs lately, he cannot putt right now. And again, another very small sample size, but there could always be a world where the anode's just not his option. And it's very true. It's a very different feeling putter than a lot of people might go for. The anode and the ion have very similar feels in the sense of they have that rounded rim down here in the bottom where it's like, I love this feel for a throwing putter, but I don't know how I would feel putting with it. Because we're talking about a Simon Lizotte who went from putting with P2s to P1Xs that had the bead sawed off so far down it might as well have been a freaking dinner plate. So I could very well see his first disc being a good, suitable distance driver for his own feel, and then his second disc being a putting putter that he manufactures for his own good. And like we even saw that with James Conrad in the Nomad, and he made his own putter that was very similar to the Casey AVR.
Yep. Like
he putted with Innova.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are two really big possibilities. The other area of his bag that I am curious to see about right now is I'm noticing he's throwing what MVP would classify for that overstable approach slot. Mm-hmm. He's throwing overstable mid-ranges. I don't think he has an entropy in the bag. Am I right on that?
When he did his in the bag, he did not have an entropy, but he did have a deflector.
Okay, yeah, well that's what I mean. Deflectors.
So you're thinking he could have like
he's
an
got the
overstable
deflector and the
putter.
pyro.
Yeah.
In his bag right now, those are technically classified as mid ranges. Lately I've become a little bit less of a believer in a huge difference between a 4-speed like zone and something like a pyro, where I think they actually serve fairly similar purposes. But I still think that might be an interesting thing. He doesn't seem... One of two things is happening. Either he's not impressed by the entropy, or he hasn't picked one up yet. Either of those two possibilities, to me, mean... he has to have picked up an entropy by now.
Well, but here's the thing is I think back to Discmania, and I don't remember Simon ever throwing, like, a tactic or a razor claw.
That's true.
So that could just not be a slot that he's, like, well-versed with. In the same way, I don't see a world in which he keeps the Matrix, the Pyro, and the Entropy, or not the Entropy, and the Deflector in the bag. Those are 3 overstable mid-ranges, and you already have the Hex. I don't see why you would keep a Deflector and a Pyro and a Matrix in the bag, because the way he throws the Pyro, he's already getting natural turn out of it, and he's got more arm power than any of us do, to be honest. So I don't know. That feels like another hole in his bag that just could use to be filled.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's so many questions to ask about. We're just at such an interesting and fun time in the transition he's going through. I mean, I click on every vlog that he puts out or Casey puts out. Obviously, I think they're probably not in Florida anymore, but...
it was a 2-day trip,
like
so yeah, I think today he left.
But, no, I think...
I'm watching you, Simon.
Think there's going to be so much good content that comes out with this. I think the disc golf world is excited about something that unites almost everybody.
Are we going to talk about how Casey knew Simon's bag a little better than he knew his own bag? That was pretty funny.
Casey probably knows 90% of people's bags better than they know it.
Yeah.
Casey's kind of just one of those people.
I would love to see Casey go like open bag one of these years and just throw whatever the heck he wants. That'd be so interesting.
You know, former teammate Nate Perkins is doing that.
Yeah, no kidding. Did he announce he's going open bag?
Well, he said he's going...
He left Discmania.
Yeah, he said he's going free agent.
Okay, yeah.
Which I would say that would mean...
I would love to see another pro throw open bag. I think that's where the sport's moving.
I mean...
Unless there's a lot of money involved, of course, but...
Yeah, I mean... The amount of money you're going to be able to start to make at tournaments and the amount of competitiveness that you see amongst people that haven't been on the scene. I'm going to blank on his name, Robert something.
Burridge
at the Des Moines Challenge, right? Like, I'd never heard of him before. Suddenly he's in a playoff with Simon for the win. He doesn't win, but, 5-10 years from now, that second place, I think it'll be still just as up for grabs for those people who aren't necessarily the big names. And, that could keep someone on tour, right? Like, I think you're right. Like, we might see a lot of people not go the sponsorship route. I mean, we might see more people go the sponsorship route. I mean, it's really just up to how much money these disc golf companies are going to make and how much of that money they're going to shell out and diversify amongst people or just put all their eggs in one basket. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that topic. That was a great start to the pod.
Yeah.
All right, next up, let's talk about... Have you heard of Latitude 64's... they're partnering with another company, I believe this is. They're creating a putting technology called SenseBlend. It is a sound-based device that is used to improve your putting. Recently, Jonathan over at Latitude did a video on this. Okay. And basically what he did is he had headphones on and he had his Apple Watch on his putting hand, and he would putt and there would be an audible noise in his ears that would go whoo, whoo, and you would track if you had a good putt or not. And then it would learn as you keep putting what you felt like your good pattern was, like what a good motion was for you.
Oh, interesting.
And it would learn, and it would play an audible noise for you of like what your average would be. So you learn to putt at that motion every single time.
So this is something that Latitude is making?
I think it's a company that Latitude is featuring on their channel. I can't confirm that Latitude made this. But Jonathan tested it out on the Latitude channel, so...
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting... I think there's going to be so much technology that comes out around disc golf. I mean, we already saw Bushnell came
with the rangefinder.
Obviously with the rangefinder, and then they had that speaker thing that came out.
Yeah, the speaker that like told you your yardage.
Yeah, it kind of audibilizes.
Yeah, it didn't do it very well.
It
but
audiates your distances through UDisc. So it partners with UDisc. I think we're going to see a lot of things like that. Atlas made their Scout rangefinder which
That thing is a bang for your buck.
I mean, I think I'm probably going to invest in one of those.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I have the Bushnell rangefinder right now, and I love it, but I would love the tool that the Scout provides in telling me what my hole plays like, you know, whether or not, you know, if it's 350 feet uphill, and it says, hey, you know, it's 350 feet, we're going to tell you that, but also it's playing like 450 for this.
Well, and not to
steep
get
of
too far off topic, but MVP actually just released their own rangefinder
really?
2 months ago, and it just went on shelves maybe a week ago.
I want to look at this.
It's practically the same thing as the Atlas rangefinder, but it's $170 compared to what they were charging, $90 for the Atlas one.
The Parsec rangefinder?
Yeah.
Am I pronouncing that right?
That is right. And like, here's the thing: it doesn't look like anything fancy. It's just another piece of technology.
Target lock vibration.
Oh,
I don't know
that's
what that
interesting.
means, but that's an interesting word that I'm seeing. I mean, right? Like target lock vibration. That sounds interesting.
But yeah, anyway, back to the Sense blend or Sense. Was it called Sense
I
blend?
took
Yeah,
this off
Sense blend.
topic.
No, you're okay. What I was thinking with that is, that's
Oh
bad.
my gosh! Can I go back to this Parsec for one more second?
Go for it.
My Bushnell rangefinder. We have a hole in one of the courses here that's 1,600 feet.
That's right.
It's a par 6.
Powerline Park, Fargo, North Dakota.
The dumbest hole ever because it's just wide open. Like,
It's straight air shot. You can throw 400 in air shot.
if you can
fine.
throw 400, you set
You'll
yourself
par.
up for a birdie every time, and you'll probably miss your birdie putt because it's
Yeah.
always windy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would use or try to use my rangefinder on that hole, not to see all the way, but like to see after 2 throws how far out I was from the tee pad. And my rangefinder wouldn't work. I want to say over like 700 or 800 feet. Here, this is saying this Parsec, 2,600 feet of effective ranging.
Okay, that price point feels a little more realistic now.
That's
That's
can I do
mad.
mental math? That's like 3.5 times the distance that my Bushnell gets. My Bushnell was probably $250.
That's really impressive.
I don't know, like this is the first time looking at this, so this isn't necessarily me endorsing this, but definitely something to check out because holy moly, that's a lot more
Yeah.
distance. Not that I mean, hopefully you're not playing 2,500 foot disc golf holes, but that is a little bit better than, I mean, I will say sometimes it might be effective to have, you know, a comfortable 1,500 feet.
Oh yeah.
You know, just so that if you get on a, if you go to the preserve when Black Bear's set up, right, and you need to play, you need to see if you're, you know, 2 or 3 throws away from the hole or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but anyway, yeah, cool.
Anyway, with
Cool
the
little-
Sense blend, my kind of thought about it is that do you really need an audible technology to teach you how to putt? Because like, here's the thing: it's in your ears, it's in your head. Yes, getting your motion down is like a great thing, but is it really necessary? And is it going to be a service that can actually be practical for the average disc golfer?
You know, I think it's going to be one of those things, and maybe I'll broaden it out again a little bit, like disc golf technology isn't necessarily made for everybody, but you're going to have those people out there who are going to see that and be like, well, I want to look at that. I want to get my hands on one. And then you're going to have people out there who are like, I'm decent at putting. And yeah, I mean, like, I would probably say if you are good at putting, you probably don't need to invest in something that's supposed to make you better at putting because you already have developed a routine that has made you decent at putting, right? But if you're, you know, just starting the sport and suddenly it's like, how do I get better at putting? Or you're struggling to get better at putting and you just need something to click, maybe you need to try something totally new. That was me last year. In the off season, I was struggling with my push putting, and I finally decided I just need to make a big change, and so I moved to spin putting. Maybe some people might find themselves in a similar area where they just need a huge change in how they approach, and you know, so that would be where I'd see that fit in. I don't think everyone's gonna get one, you know, so.
Something I actually forgot to mention is, in watching the video with Jonathan, he did a set of putts before he actually tried the tool, and he made like 66 out of 100 from 25 feet.
Okay.
After using the tool, I'm pretty sure he made 83.
From 20 feet?
From 25.
Man?
That's a pretty big improvement.
Well,
especially for Jonathan, who, not bad at disc golf, he's just novice.
I mean, granted, I haven't watched him play in a while. I don't think, well, maybe in a controlled environment, it's different, right? I feel like I am a much better putter when I'm in a controlled environment.
Amen.
And, repeatedly putting, right?
Yeah.
So maybe 83 isn't as horribly out of reach as I thought, as it felt. But, like, if you put me on a course, and, like, over the course of, like, I don't know, 8 rounds, I have 80 or 100, 25 footers. I don't know. I'm good at circle 1, but I'm guessing my stats from circle 1 are slightly skewed from, like, 15 footers.
Yeah.
Because the 25 footers, I don't think go in 83% of the time.
Yeah, very fair.
So, but yeah, that is an improvement.
I think it's very fair to say this tool may not be for everybody, although I think everybody maybe should give it a try, especially if they have the hardware required, because I think we all want to get to that level of, like, professional putting, because they say throw for dough, or no, throw for, what's the saying? It's a drive
for show.
Drive for show, putt for dough.
There you go.
There we go, yeah. So, we could all use a little more dough in our lives. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic.
Okay.
I would love to hear your thoughts on Drew Gibson.
Okay.
Drew Gibson is a clown. Drew Gibson is a leaky leaker. Drew Gibson...
That's true.
Drew Gibson has been making a little bit more of a name for himself as of late than many people might already know of him. Everyone knows him as a good disc golfer. Everyone knows him for being cool guy, drive cars, and he's launching a very successful disc golf brand in Finish Line Discs. And recently, I'm sure a lot of people know, he leaked the dropping date for Simon Lizotte to MVP. Or was it the day he left Discmania? Either way, it was one of the two.
It was one of the two. He leaked something he probably shouldn't have.
And he earned himself the nickname Leaky Leaker.
Yep.
Which has kind of become a staple for him, as he just released a sweatshirt on his own website that says Leaky Leaker in his logo down below it. So, my question for this topic is Drew Gibson good for disc golf?
Okay.
Because... Okay, I'm going to share my opinion first, because I feel like I've kind of been making you give me the first answer.
You go. I'm going to take a look at his... did he post something on Twitter?
Oh, he's so active on Twitter, it's not even funny.
Okay.
That's where he spends his life. He's either throwing or on Twitter.
Let's see. Oh, I don't know.
I think disc golf needs a villain. Not named Nicola Castro.
Yeah.
Basically...
I'm going to take my thoughts about Nico and not state them on the internet.
Basically what I think is Drew Gibson plays the loudmouth, gets a couple people mad, but it's a really funny role. To the point to where he can be kind of laid back and, like, enjoy his own life. But he's going to piss some people off, and some people are going to really enjoy it, and some people are going to hate his guts for it. Did you just pull up the sweatshirt?
I did. I found the sweatshirt.
It's so good.
That's a clean design.
I'll put a picture on the podcast of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I would actually buy it because it looks kind of cool.
So I hadn't seen a picture of it till now. I knew about it, but yeah, it's well designed. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know.
Here's what I'll say: is Drew Gibson advertises himself very, very well. And here's the thing with Drew, is you either love him or you hate him. There's no in between. I'm very convinced.
I think it's funny you brought up the idea of villain, because, and maybe it's just me. I mean, I remember to my earliest days of watching Joe Mez Pro coverage on disc golf.
Back when he was with Innova.
Well, just watching Drew play in general, like, he was kind of always the guy I cheered for.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it was just, like, maybe his style, honestly. And it's, like, just the
swagger
vibe he provides on the course is something that's just, like, you watch him step up to the tee. All you need to watch is him throw the disc. And you're like, damn. Like, that guy is...
he can launch.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
And he's not a big guy.
I've never been polarized by Drew. Maybe some people have. I think, like, last year you look at... He's not afraid to make fun of himself either.
He's a clown.
I can't remember what tournament. Was it like...
Oh, I remember exactly what tournament you're talking about, where they kicked and then he fell on his butt.
Yeah, so he misses a putt short off of an elevated basket,
I want to say.
and he wants to...
That was
he wants to kick the ground. Like, I think he actually fell.
Oh, it was Portland Open is what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he walks up after he clanks his putt just short, and suddenly he's on his back. And yeah, no, I thought that moment was a perfect example of who Drew is, because then he follows it up by like reposting it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not embarrassed about it. Like, he's like, look at what a dummy I am.
Yeah.
And suddenly, he's creating positive content for himself out of a moment where like most players would probably be not ashamed, but like less than happy to have presented themselves that way. He's just like, you know what, this is who I am, and I'm still happy with who I am, and I'm going to be who I am on the course. And I think I respect him more for it. I don't think that was a controversial moment, but I think
it's also very fair to say that Drew has his fair share of villainous moments. Like, I remember back to Vegas Challenge last year. Vegas Challenge, English. And I remember watching his playoff against Gannon Burr. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone was rooting for Drew to win that. Oh,
I was.
You were?
I'm not a Gannon fan.
That's interesting.
And
okay.
It's not like I don't have anything against Gannon. I have a lot of respect for the fact that he puts himself on the world stage and he's younger than me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Maybe that's where it's rooted.
And we're both 20.
So
19 and 20. That's
6 days, my friend. What's today? 5 days, my friend.
My bad. 4 days and 30 minutes.
Dang. You really just told everybody when we're filming this.
Yep.
Well, not really, because they don't know my birthday.
Anyway.
No, so I don't know. So for me, and maybe some people are with me, like maybe some people were like just not Gannon fans. I think it's interesting because there's so many people on tour that I don't like dislike, but if they're on a card, I just don't cheer for them. Like, I will actively find someone else on the card to cheer for that's not them because I'm just like not a fan. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean I don't respect their game. Obviously, Gannon's super talented and had a super successful year, and I'm happy for him, right? Like, that's amazing. Go you. But just I wasn't cheering for him. I don't know.
Fair enough. Anyway, back to the Gibson villain role. I don't know many people that were happy with him when he dropped the Simon news. Mm-hmm. Actually, also, you might not have seen that tweet, but he recently made a tweet joking about the idea of something along the lines of, aren't we also excited for the 2023 disc golf season? Simon to MVP, Brody making out of a shell, Gannon Bird to Discmania, and then everyone's like, what? Because he just drops his bombshell, like, oh great, now he's going to leak something else.
Yeah.
And then he put hashtag this is the internet to like make fun of himself.
That's funny.
So yeah, I think he definitely plays that like fine line role very well, and he knows it, and he's making it his character.
Can we also just talk about the fact that in his phone, Drew Gibson has Paul McBeth?
I saw that as a goat. It's so funny.
That is pretty good. I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree with the fact that Paul McBeth does feel like the Tom Brady of baseball.
That's a topic for another day, sir.
All right. Sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're getting on to our bits part of our podcast, where first of all, we're going to do Trent's trivia, not at all a ripoff of Trevor's trivia. Don't anyone ask me about that.
Funny.
It was completely original until I remember Trevor's name started with a T. So, I'm going to ask you a question, Ian. We're going to play a game of higher or lower. You're going to have 3 guesses, and if you get it right in your 3 guesses, then I am going to give you one of my Ledgestone discs from my mystery box coming.
Okay.
All right. So, question for today. I need you to guess Simon's lowest rated round ever. I will give you a higher or lower.
So I get 3 guesses. I've got to guess down to the exact rating.
I'll give you 4 guesses.
You give me 4 guesses?
Okay. I'll give you 4 guesses. I'll give you like a really lower or like a really higher if you're like way off though.
Okay. I'm gonna take like the game show route where like you walk through every tedious detail of your thought process.
Yep.
The first thought that comes to mind is like, how long ago did Simon start playing?
I will tell you, this first sanctioned tournament that he played in
Okay.
was in the one that this round was rated was in 2006.
Okay, that was about the timeline I was guessing, because I know he was with Discmania for 10 years,
This is pre-Discmania.
obviously, because, yeah,
Simon was like 15 at this point.
oh my gosh. Watch his best round ever be like 950. It's not. 'Cause
Worst
I
round,
think-
you mean?
Or yeah, his worst round ever be like 950. Probably not. I'm going to go, first guess, I'm going to go 900. Just
Okay.
to set the bar and see like how far off that is.
Okay. It's higher than that.
It's higher than that.
Yes. That's one guess.
Well, he's already got me by 150. I'm not 750 rated for everybody. Just
No, he's 900.
my worst round is like, well, it's not counted anymore, but it was a dark day.
All right, let's hear your thought process for the second.
Okay, 900 higher. I swear I've seen him like put together a round that was probably like 970 rated, like bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know I've seen him shoot over par at Elite Series events. Granted, you can shoot 3 over and be 1,000 rated on
Oh, certainly,
Elite
yeah.
Series events. I'll give it 950.
Okay. Lower.
Okay, this is the zone that I thought I was going to find myself in. I feel like I just got to commit. I can't say 925. Because if I say
Here-
925...
Here's what we'll do. If you get it within... So, like, say, let's break it down to 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 now. If you get it within the bracket, or like the... I'll give you 2 guesses to get the, like, within the 10s.
Okay.
And then I'll give you 2 guesses within that bracket.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm going to go with...
I'm realizing 100 numbers is really hard to guess on 3 guesses.
I'm going to go with in the 920s.
Okay, it's higher than that. 2 guesses left.
I don't want it to be in the 940s, like so desperately.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say 930s.
Okay, that's correct.
Okay.
You have 1 guess to guess what number it is in the 930s.
937. Did I get it?
No way.
Did I actually?
That's the exact number.
Let's go, dude.
Did you see my notes?
No. I
just
I
guessed
swear to God.
937, the Der something German Open.
Their moment.
937. That was the
Wow.
lowest one I could find.
Cannot believe I got that down to the number.
Well, Ian Brown is going to be getting a disc from my Ledgestone box.
Okay. I mean, I'll take it.
All right, I didn't think he was
Hey,
going to get
I
that.
earned it with that guess.
You did. That was a 1 in 10. That was a 10% chance. That's pretty impressive.
No, it was 100% because I knew it the whole way.
Okay. Next bit. We're going to look at some preseason projections. Basically, what
Okay.
we're going to do is we are going to pick 3 things that we think is going to happen throughout the season. Will you make a deal with me if
Depends.
one of us, so like for each of these we get right, we get to buy each other 1 disc.
$30 or no?
20
maybe
bucks.
$60. So yeah, sure.
$60, but it's only if it comes true. But it has to be like, it can't be like, yeah, Paul McBeth's gonna win a Elite Series event. It has to be like an actually like kind of tough one to
Like
get.
a hot take.
Yeah. Here, like I'll give my first one for example.
Okay.
Calvin Heimberg is winning his first major this year.
Oh. I mean, that's possible. Like, he won 2 Elite Series last year.
Yep. Here's the thing.
He can come out on top.
Vinny is well overdue for his first major.
It's true.
He's been right there so many times. He's been there at USDGC. He's shown flashes at the Worlds, but he's never really just like gotten that little nudge that he needs. Vinny is. It is time for the year of Vinny.
All right.
He just signed this massive contract. At least we might think with Innova.
Mhm.
He's their only. I'm not reputable, but he's their only elite
He's
level
their
player.
He's their person who's going to compete.
He's
week
their
in and week
guy.
out.
Yeah.
Week in and week out, you'll hopefully. I think everyone loves Calvin.
Mm-hmm.
I think week in and week out, you're going to see Calvin on leaderboards, and that is kind of their only like. Just no matter what, their competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's for a hot take, which I can't classify it as anything else. That's a pretty gimme hot take.
You
know
think
what I
that's gimme? He's
Like,
never won
I'm
one
not
before.
saying that he's like definitely going to.
Yeah.
But like, if there's anything I'd put out there, like that's a very good bet.
Like it's very possible to happen. I'm not
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, so like some random European's gonna like win worlds.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta come up with mine now. I bet you prepared all these, and I just gotta come up with.
No,
one
I
on the
actually
spot.
that was the only one I prepared.
Oh, okay. So then we're both gonna be working from the same.
Yep.
I have one that I want to save for last,
Okay.
and you might steal it. Well, I don't even know if that's my take or not. Maybe it will be. Let's see. I'm gonna guess that. What do I want to talk? What should I talk about? Should I want my take to be about like who wins something? Should it be about a disc golf
It
company?
could be wins. It could be a stat. It could be like how many wins a team gets. It could be.
All right.
Here's another good one. I'll put this one out there. Team Lone Star Discs has a combined 2 Silver and Elite Series events wins.
Again, I'm gonna withhold my Nico LaCastro. I mean,
That'll be my second.
that's a hotter take. Although Emerson Keith is looking good with their discs.
Yeah, he has
So-
been, and Rob Burridge has been. I mean, 530 with a Mockingbird is nothing. Mockingbird. 530 with a Mockingbird is nothing to look past. That's mad impressive.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think. Okay, I'll kind of go along with your Calvin theme, but
Mhm.
like completely opposite. I think 2 other people on Team Innova will get an Elite Series or major win this year, other than Calvin.
Didn't that happen last year? Because Bradley Williams won one last year, and
I think Greg Barsby won something in
yeah,
Europe.
he won
something in
yeah,
Europe.
the Sula,
Yeah.
the one with like the Viking like axe in the shield.
Yeah, he was pretty successful at that
Yeah.
tournament. So, I mean, I think that's a doable take.
I bet it'll happen.
I also, though, like, it's very possible with...
I would buy you a
I'm not
disc
going
if
to
that
say
happened.
lack of talent that they have, but,
Yeah.
like, the lack of, like, extremely...
The lack of
week in
winning.
and week out competitiveness that
Yeah.
they have, to me, makes that, maybe a hotter take. Okay, you've already had 2, haven't you?
I have. I could throw out a third there if I really
No,
wanted to.
we got to save our thirds for last.
All right. Do you still have another third ready?
I'm going to go with Kyle Klein. I want to see something from him this year. I feel like this is a make or break year for him.
Agreed. Contract year.
He came onto the scene really hot. I feel like he had a really quiet year last year. Not to say he didn't have success, but like he didn't, because he had a lot of success at D-Glow 2021. I think that was like the first place I really took note of him. Like, wow, this kid can play. And now it's like, after last year, I start to ask myself, was it a fluke? I think he's going to have a breakout year, though. That's going to be my hot take. I think he's going to take down a Silver Series and a major.
Wow. That is a big take.
I think he's going to take down a Silver Series and a major. Not just an Elite Series, but a major.
Now,
That's
this
my hot
won't
take.
count for your hot take, but what made you think he's going to win?
I mean...
Here's the thing. I don't think he's winning Worlds. I don't think he's winning the European Open.
Is he going to the European Open?
I would hope so. He's full-time
I don't know.
tour.
I think he'll pull one out.
Anyway.
I gotta make a fun hot take.
On the topic of Europe, my last hot take is Paul Macbeth is going to win every Silver Series event he plays in Europe. He plays like 8.
There's no way. I mean, like, I will buy you 2 discs if that's true.
I'm assuming that Paul Macbeth is going there and no other American touring player is going there. Is what I'm
That's
thinking.
fair. I just also think, like, yes, he's Paul Macbeth. And maybe I'm going to eat these words later. Like, maybe it's just going to be like, how could you freaking
Paul,
bet against
I
Macbeth?
am betting on you, and I need you to convert.
Okay. I mean, like that's a hot take. Like as doable as it is for him to win like half of them.
Yeah.
I just like at some point you're gonna have an off weekend or something.
Yeah.
Okay. That was your hot
Not
take.
to mention all European courses he likely hasn't played before.
Here's my hot take, my final hot take.
I'd love to hear this. Nikola
Simon
Castro
Lizotte
gets
wins Worlds this year. I think the MVP signing World Championship.
signing jinx.
What's the opposite of curse?
Spell.
Spell?
It would be like Juju or like
Juju. We'll go with Juju.
yeah.
Signing with MVP will continue to prove as the best way to guarantee yourself a world championship.
Eagle McMahon to MVP 2024.
Oh, Discmania would be
All right,
hurting with
I
that.
love that, and I hope I have to buy you a disc
I
because I
hope
would
you do
die.
too.
And I hope it's Simon Lizotte 2023 World Championship.
I hope it's Simon Lizotte 2024 World Championship out of Lynchburg, Virginia, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I am trying to get out to Lynchburg for that. That would be so
cool.
so sick.
I need to just play
I
that
think it
course.
drops on, or no, it doesn't drop on finals week. That would be. We wouldn't technically be graduated by then. No, it would be like the beginning of first semester.
Oh,
Yeah, Worlds
I
would
gotcha.
be. Yeah.
I don't know.
All
We
right.
can maybe swing it.
All right, that's our 3 bets. That is going to wrap it up for that segment. I think we have some actually really good high quality bets. Nothing that's like actually 100% going to happen, although I think the end of one's going to happen.
My end of a one?
Yeah.
2 other people? I mean, like, I just think it's
I
also
feel like it happens
possible.
every year.
Yeah, and we were talking about MPO too.
Yeah.
Not to exclude
Maybe
FPO.
we should build an FPO one into this too.
Should we each do a hot take of FPO?
Yeah, let's
quick?
each do a hot take on FPO.
Gosh, I'm just like not as invested, and that's like I'm sorry to say that. Like I want to be invested. Sometimes though, especially mid-season, it's like I'm not even awake
Yeah.
at the time of the day when FPO is playing.
All right, here's my hot take. Evelina Salonen shoots over 70% circle 1.
That's a hot take.
Hey,
Bro.
listen. After last year, that is the one thing she needs to become a great player.
I saw a YouTube video that was talking.
We're so bad for laughing at that so hard right away.
Oh my gosh, I didn't understand how bad this problem was. I watched a YouTube channel a YouTube video of her playing. I want to say the Memorial Open. It was one of the tournaments in Arizona at the beginning of the season. She plays this tournament. I think she ended with like a +1, and the winner had like -9 through 3 or 4 rounds, whatever. They went through and showed every clip of her missing something from within 15 feet. She missed 21 shots.
From 20 feet?
From within 15 feet.
Oh my.
She would have won the FPO if she had just gone... If she had just gone 75%...
50%.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, if she had gone just 75%, which is like the bet you're making... She would
won by 4 strokes.
She would have demolished that tournament.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
I want to see her succeed. She has a huge arm, and she has everything she needs.
She's got the accuracy.
She's just got to figure out the putting.
She puts herself in a good position for... But, I mean, here's my thing. I think some players find it where it's like... I mean, me too. Like, I love throwing Frisbees. Mm-hmm. Always have. Like, not just disc golf, but like throwing.
Yeah.
And like watching it fly. And I think sometimes that causes me to want to go out into the field and practice field work so much more than it makes me want to practice putting. And some people, I think, might actually feel just as good about when they hear the chains. When they make that dead center putt. And some people get addicted to that. It's just, I think other people get addicted to the flight.
Agreed.
I don't know how much that, like, her putting, at this point in her career, how much her putting could change. Maybe she's just the kind of person who, like, just is so enveloped in the disc flight, throwing it, getting it to go far, getting it to go accurate, that when it comes to putting practice, it's just like she's not as interested and she doesn't care because she does well. She doesn't do, as well as she might want to, but, like, she does well for herself in FPO. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's above 70%. That's a hot take.
Maybe I'll make it 65.
I'm not getting you a disc for 65.
All right, fine, 70%. Evelina, I want to see you make putts, please.
I mean, I do too. Just not 70%. You can do 69.
You're winning like 3 or 4 Elite Series events if you make 70% of your putts.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta come up with mine. I'm gonna go a really hot take.
Let's hear it. I love hot takes.
Kristen Tatar has a bad year.
Define bad year.
So, well, I will. I'm just gonna preface it with like.
Because here's the thing: she's already coming off of a surgery, and she's already gonna be missing a Texas swing.
I think Kristen Tatar does not win a major this year. And I think she maximum wins 2 Elite Series. But I'm going to...
That would be a bad year.
In the interest of being as hot as possible, I think she only walks away from the year with 1 Elite Series win.
Kristen, I'm going to be disappointed if you don't win more than 1.
I will too. Like, I love Kristen.
I will be heartbroken.
But, like, I'm trying to come up with something juicy here.
Yeah,
so I'm not wishing it on her.
That's
I would rather not get the disc for that bet. You know, like, I want to see her do well. But it was the only hot take I could come up with. And, you know, it's not the end of the world if she doesn't, or if she, you know, has a bad year. And I'll be happy to get
You know, especially coming off of a year where she just went on
she had a
whole season without missing podium.
Yep.
Like that's disgusting. Year. What do you do? All right, that'll wrap up that segment. On to our last segment. We will be doing a disc of the week. So we are going to each select a disc that we feel like others should try.
My time.
And yeah, this is Ian's idea, and he's excited for this.
I am excited for this segment.
We are going to pick a disc that we think others should try, whether it's for its flight characteristics, its feel, and just give you a general idea of what it is that we like about the disc. So, would you like to start us off?
I can start us off.
I could also start us off.
Okay.
You want me to start us off?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're both doing gyro. Gosh dang it. Screw you, Simon.
It's the theme.
All right, so my disc...
You gave away mine.
Huh?
You gave mine away.
No, I didn't. We're both doing gyro.
All right, whatever.
Gyro. There it is. Okay. So, my disc that I chose is a Electron Volt. The reason why I picked this disc is nobody really loves throwing baseline plastics, at least from what I see. The only disc that I see people actively throw in a baseline plastic are putters, approach discs, and then you'll see an occasional player throw a baseline Rock 3 or a DX Rock. Mm-hmm. I never understood that, but one thing that I love about MVP...
At Trevor Staub.
one thing that I love about MVP and Gyro and their Electron...
Sorry.
Yeah, that was a jerk move.
That was you. You put it out there.
Yeah, I know.
You put the juju into the universe.
Anyway, one thing I love about Electron. One thing I love about
MVP
Electron...
and their names.
And MVP, yeah, their names are confusing. I need them to shuffle it up a little bit. One thing I love about Electron is that it doesn't give off that base plastic feel as much as you would see a normal disc give off. Mm-hmm. If I had to compare it to something else, yes, it's baseline and sticky, but I would compare it more to an Innova Pro plastic than I would a baseline putter, like a DX. This feels like it could be a legitimate contender and a great flyer in my bag. And another thing that's fantastic about MVP discs is they change the flight numbers based on the plastic type and the mold. Mm-hmm. So while a normal volt you would find at a 8.5 negative 0.52, this volt is rated at an 8.5 negative 2 1.5. Oh,
so I didn't know that.
Yeah,
they actually changed their numbers. Is that true for every disc?
It's true for every disc. Wow. So like the Envy, I'll have it right here. Your standard Envies are rated at a 3.3 negative 1.2. While their premium plastics are rated the 3.302.
It's right there.
Yeah.
They literally have a -1 on the soft.
I will show you guys pictures of these in post-production. But
wow.
Yeah, that's one thing that I love about MVP.
I never knew that.
And they do it very well. It's something I really respect out of that company.
MVP is impressive, and we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. They needed someone to push discs.
Oh, 100%.
Because I think the major thing holding people back from MVP is like they look weird,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and no pros other than James Conrad, you know, were throwing them, and suddenly, you know, Simon starts throwing. It's like,
Whoa.
he's into this.
It's a world.
Yeah, there's a whole another, and there actually was a community before Simon of people who were hardcore gyro people.
Oh, and I found it on Facebook and stuff. It's huge. It's amazing what they have and like how much value they have in these discs.
Yep.
But anyway, as for these, go try a baseline disc that's not like a putter from MVP. These are fantastic discs. It feels amazing in the hand. And
I have one more question for you about it.
Yeah.
So obviously the interior is baseline.
Mm-hmm.
Is the gyroplastic on the outside the same as like gyroplastic on a more
That's a very interesting question because like you feel this. This is a neutron octane that I actually got
think
from
it is.
Foundation
Like,
Box.
I don't know.
And it's like
So here's my thing.
I would definitely say this is a little tackier.
Okay, but are we sacrificing all that much durability? Because where's the number one place you want your disc to be durable?
On the outside of the rim, yeah.
That's where it has its flight characteristics. So if they have a more durable outer rim on their baseline discs where they can still make them cheaper and like have that baseline quality be, you know, effective, like, I don't know. I think that's another interesting thing to think about.
I would definitely say it's a different plastic, but I don't think it's very much of a different plastic.
Okay.
Like, I don't think this is the same plastic you're going to find on, like... Oh, okay, no, that's very similar to what I found on, like, a Electron Envy.
Okay.
So, it's definitely a baseline rim, but you wouldn't give it, like, the credit you would a baseline rim. Like, this is essentially a premium baseline disc, is the way I look at it.
All right.
But yeah, enough about baseline MVP disc. Let's get on to Ian's disc.
Is mine baseline though?
It is not a baseline. We will talk about it.
All right, we will, because you probably know more about it than me.
I do, because I researched it
All right,
for a video.
the big reveal. Oh my gosh. Do you understand how excited I am right now?
He's been raving over this disc. And he's actually had it in some videos so far.
Yeah, go check out the channel. You probably know what this is about to be. This is
MVP battle.
the MVP spin in R2 plastic, R2 neutron plastic. This is MVP's kind of it's their signature thing with the rounded interior rim.
Does it have the rounded interior rim?
Oh, yeah,
I haven't
it does.
actually felt this disc yet.
Oh yeah, it
Oh,
does.
you weren't kidding.
It has the rounded
I
interior
love
rim.
that so much.
It is. So the first time I got my hands on a spin was earlier last season. I have a friend that I play a fair amount of disc golf with who throws MVP Axiom only. And he put the spin in my hand, and I was like, the first thing I noticed was the parting line on this.
It's crazy low.
Of course, there's no flight numbers on this one.
It's a 3-4 -20.
Which, for a putter, I feel like you rarely see a putter labeled as -2. I feel like for understable putters, you see like -1.
The only disc I've
-1
ever
is-
seen with those kind of numbers is like the Discraft Soul.
Yeah. So, anyway, it probably wouldn't be effective to really show the camera the parting line on this right now, but you can probably get something up
like
in
that.
post-production. The parting line on this thing is so low, it reminds me of like a Shrike.
Like
you know what I mean?
Like a flat distance driver on the bottom.
It actually comes to a point.
Yeah.
Like there's an actual line, actual parting line. It's not rounded like a normal putter, but it's still got the like. It's rounded enough where it. I don't even know how to describe it other than the fact that like you can feel this in your hands. You're like, this is an understable disc, and when you throw it, it's an understable disc. The reason I fell in love with it so much, I just bought it to be like. It's a putter. Might be interesting to try in the winter, and it's MVP, and I want to try an MVP putter.
And it's also a plastic that neither of us had ever tried before, which more on that in a second.
So when I started throwing it, it kind of, it first of all became my putting putter for winter because it's cold as heck outside. But the other thing I started doing, or the initial intent that I had with it, was for it to replace my roach or like a glitch
for an understable throwing putter kind of
a
slot.
Sonic or a Polecat or a Berg slot.
Yeah,
you know, more glidey than the polecat and the Berg, but you know that 150 feet max and in shot, and maybe a slightly longer on some tee shots, but something that you can either throw dead straight or it can just kind of drift for forever on not a lot of torque. And it really does that perfectly. It's maybe the most controllable, severely understable disc. I don't even know if that forms a good sentence.
I think
it's controllable and it's severely understable, and I don't know how.
But it's severely controllable while being understable.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
But you can throw this on a hyzer flip. I don't know. I really think, bring it back to Simon, I think he's gonna find one of these in his bag. I think it's really close to his P1Xs.
He has an Electron one in his bag right now.
So I think you should check out something in a better plastic than
I
that.
agree.
On this, give it a little bit more stability.
On this plastic, it's the MVP R2 plastic, which is basically a regrind mold of a mix of electron and neutron plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And because they mix all the colors together, it's what makes the actual color of the disc black. So it's a complete regrind and recycling of all of their discs that don't even make like a factory second.
Okay.
So this is technically a premium disc, but it doesn't come at a premium price. It's I think $1.50 more expensive than an Electron.
Gosh, I love the feel of this disc. The inner rim is something to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
But even if putting, the way I hold my putters, and I am putting with it in the wintertime right now, it probably won't be my putter in the summer. Maybe deep circle 2 shots where I need something that's just gonna stay as flat as possible for as long as possible and a lot of torque. With a putting motion, which isn't nearly as much torque as even a baby throw. But yeah, I don't know, just
it's a great disc.
It's probably not gonna be my main putter.
No.
But it's probably gonna make the bag on account of just I've hit cage with this disc in 4 rounds or 3 rounds 3 times from 80 to 100 feet out. I haven't put it in yet, but hitting cage is pretty good. It's a good sign that you've got control over a disc. So a lot of excitement for me with this disc. I'm the most excited for this one out of all the gyro discs I got so far. The only one that I'm super excited about aside from this that's not one of the drivers is the Terra. Because I got a Terra and it's a blank, no stamp on it. So I'm excited.
James Conrad
for
FD3.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm excited for that one too. So, yeah.
That is all I have for today, folks. So I hope you enjoyed the pod. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe. And we're looking to have hopefully one of these out a week. If you stuck around for the entire podcast, good for you. I'd love to offer you something, but this is the first time we've ever done this. But
we're just glad we made it through in one take on the main stuff and one take on the bits. So
if you made it to the end of the video, comment down below. What's something funny to make them comment?
Comment what we should name this podcast.
Yeah,
because we're not set on a name yet, and we came up with a few names, and it's oh my gosh, there are no names that we like that are available.
Yeah, it's I was what if we did something like a throw? Oh, what if you grip lock? Oh. So.
Yeah, we did, what did I suggest?
Oh, you suggested the Circle 1 podcast.
Circle 1 podcast, any of those.
Well, that's difficult because Circle 1 applies to so many sports. Yeah. So, yeah, leave a comment on what we should name the podcast. And if we pick your comment...
we should give him a disc.
I'll toss you a disc maybe.
Yeah, let's give him a disc.
So, yeah.
More info on that
in a later podcast. But, yeah, leave something down below. If you make it all the way through, you're my best friend now. And,
mine too.
Yeah, and Indians. So... weekly podcast coming at you. For now, you have a good day. I'm going to go get some sleep.
No kidding.
And, have a good one.